When tea and kindness come together, that is like my groovy spot. That is where I love to be. And I am so pleased to be able to sit down and have another interview with one of our, if you haven't already met her, you're going to meet her, Taniya, who is a tea lover, a yogi, and also a poet. And I am so excited, if you haven't already heard, she's publishing a book, her first book, and we get to sit down and chat with her for a smidge and find out why, as tea lovers, we're going to love this book. I actually got to have an advanced read, and I am so excited. Let's just dive in. So grab your cup of tea and let's get to know her a little bit better and see how we can support her. Taniya, thank you so much for doing this. I am just always so excited to talk to female business owners that surround their life in, of course, kindness and tea and all good things. And I'm just so delighted to have you on the channel today. Before we go much further, would you mind just taking a moment and introduce yourself? Let us know anything that you want us to know.
Yes. Thank you, first of all, for having me and wanting to do this. I really appreciate it. And I always love talking to you. So I am Taniya. Jen and I were talking about this right before the recording started, but the way of Hindi way of saying my name. So I was born and raised in an Indian family, and I grew up speaking Hindi and Punjabi. So like the actual way of saying my name is Tanya, but I don't bother with that anymore because every time I say that to someone on the phone, they end up writing Sanya. So I just go with Tanya because it's much easier to like pick up the T and not the S. Yeah, I'm Tanya. I am the person behind Yoga Tea Poetry. If you are familiar with it, if you're not, please do check out the social media pages, the website. My I guess my brand is all about vulnerability and softness and slowness through yoga, tea, and poetry. So yeah, and then during the day, I work in technology. That's like my full-time job. And yoga, tea, poetry is like my I guess the way I express myself in the world.
Your passion, right? Yeah.
My life's purpose, in some ways. Yeah.
Wonderful. Before we get too far in, as you know, kindness and tea go hand in hand on my channel, and we would love to know what you're drinking. If you're drinking something today, I hope you are.
I am. I'm drinking it in a very special mug too. So yeah, I'm drinking one of your favorite teas, Paris, but the herbal version of it because it is almost 3 o'clock my time and I do want to sleep at night. So I'm drinking the herbal version of Paris from Harney and Sons.
And for anybody that is like, why is this mug special? We just have to stop for a second and actually let people know that we got to meet this summer, right?
Yes,
That was so fun.
finally, after like all these years.
And embarrassingly enough, I was like sewing my head, and yeah, we didn't get to have tea together, but we're going to rectify that some other day, right?
Yes, yes, you're gonna make a trip to Ontario and we'll have tea together.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
So do you want to tell the story behind the mug?
You go ahead.
Okay. So this mug is actually one of Jan's, but it was a gift from her to me, and it's one of my favorite gifts ever that someone's ever given me. And like very kind, talking about kindness, very kindly and generously, Jan gifted it to me. Yeah.
You're crying. That is Gary. He just always needs to be the center of attention. That mug was actually crafted by a local Nova Scotian, and she is just amazing. I can leave her information linked down below as well. And I just felt like that mug just needed to be with you. So
I totally plan on carrying it if I ever have to do like an interview with, media outlet for the book. I absolutely plan on carrying this. Just, yeah.
Mm. All right, now let's get into your book. I'm just so excited. The book cover is like right behind you. I love this. I love the book cover. It is so vibrant. It just really catches your eye.
Thank you.
Running right
Thank you.
through.
This was a surprise from my husband a few weeks ago. He managed to sneak it in, and it was a really special surprise. He printed this out, and I thought today was a good opportunity to bring it out.
For sure. I love it. So, debut book, right? Can you tell us a little bit about your book?
Yes, absolutely. So my book, as you can see behind me, the title is What Will People Say? And I wanted the cover to represent all of us. And I wanted it to also represent, not just, I wanted it to represent all the communities, and just the power of community in general. So that's the book cover. The book itself is a collection of poems. Um, the 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 overall book follows the journey of a South Asian woman, her struggles with being a daughter and then a daughter-in-law. So a lot of the themes that are covered in the book are patriarchy, mental health is a big theme, highlighting stories of immigrants and immigrant struggles. And then hopefully providing the readers with a path towards their own healing through connecting with the poems.
That's wonderful. So, who do you think is going to love this book? Or or is it something everybody can read, do you think?
Um, I've thought about that. I had to obviously think about that when pitching it to publishers and agents. I think anybody who's felt the weight of that phrase, like that phrase, that title, it wasn't the title I initially submitted the manuscript with, but it is a title that I think now just feels like it fits so well with what this book is about. Um, so I think anybody who's felt the weight of what will people say, if you've been told to do something and not do something because of what people might say, what people might think, I think you're going to relate to the book. I think women are especially going to feel that sense of connection with the poems and the story, because we've all in our own ways, I wrote the book from inspired by like my own lived experiences or like women around me. But if you've grown up in a different culture than me, I think there's still aspects that are very relatable. So I think I wrote it keeping my journey as a woman and other women who I have, been raised by or just seen around me. I wrote the book keeping them in mind, but I think anybody who's felt the weight of that phrase will relate to the book.
Yeah. I will say that I was honored enough to have the opportunity to have an advanced reading, and it is a breathtaking book. Like, you should be so proud of what you created. Um, there were moments where I felt like you were telling my story. Like, I felt like we were walking side by side through something. And there were other moments where it was like I was able to like be your shadow and experience a
Mm-hmm.
moment with you, but I felt protected. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Mm-hmm.
it just it felt like a safe moment, and I felt very secure in exploring some very deep, heavy topics as well. You know, but yeah,
Thank you.
beautiful writing. I absolutely loved the way that it felt like a story throughout the whole thing. Like I just, without giving too much away, I just,
Mhm.
I'm completely honored that I got to read it. I pre-ordered. I can't wait to get my own copy and like flip through it and everything. For our
Thank you.
viewers, are there any tea scoops or like little sneak peeks? Could you read us a poem? Anything that you could give us would be spectacular.
Yes, absolutely. So first of all, thank you for going and reading the advanced copy. I think having a friend read it, and somebody who's kind of known the journey of the book, because I know we've spoken throughout the years as the book has kind of shaped up. So I think that was really special, just having you read it and then hearing your thoughts. So thank you for doing that. But sneak peeks, I think I have two. One, yes, absolutely, I will read a poem. um and the second one, I was going to say, since you have a lot of the audience who also loves tea, like you and I, there is a little surprise for all our tea lovers. I'm going to leave it at that for now. But Jen and I both know that there's a little something for you, and I had to do that because I wanted to make sure that people feel supported as you're reading some very heavy topics. Yeah. Okay, I'll read a poem.
Thank you.
This is actually, you know what? I'll read the poem and we can chat about it. I had to fight for my existence before I was even out of my mother's womb. If I didn't stop fighting then, why would I stop now? So this is a very short poem, but it is one of the most special pieces in the book. And if I can, I want to share a little bit of the story behind this piece.
Yes, please.
Uh,
Whatever you would like to share, I am so honored. So thank you.
So I had a much longer version of this poem written, and it's inspired by my own birth story, but also just seeing what a struggle it is to bring a girl child into this world. And that's observing what was happening around me when I was a kid. And even now I get to hear stories and witness certain situations. So it was a much longer piece, and during the process of like editing and re-editing, that's the piece that you see now. It's in the book. It's also at the back, and on the back cover of the book is another sneak peek. um it is one of the most special pieces because bef- before I was even born, my grandma wanted a boy. Then as my mom is, she's super close to the delivery date, she goes into like a lot of health complications where the doctor's like, we don't think we can save either of them. If anything, we can save one person. And then, I'm fighting and I am born. Then for 3 days, I actually like my mom and I guess, were both so drugged up because of all the complications. um Rewinding a little bit, my dad actually got into an accident trying to drive my mom to the hospital. So getting to the hospital, the doctor's like, we don't think we can save the child. If anything, we'll try and save the mother. Then I'm born and I don't open my eyes for 3 days, and my grandma, who's already written me off because I'm a girl, is now like, oh, another thing that so the longer version of this poem actually goes through a little bit more of the story, but I think I love the version that is in the book now because I feel like it says what it needs to say, the piece, without going into some of those specifics. But anybody watching this, I just wanted to share a little bit of that, why that poem is so special.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. It's
Yeah.
and I think that Gary Gary loves to continue to talk as well. um, yeah, I think that yeah, I don't even know what to say. Like your poems always just like they just hit my heart.
So I think just to like wrap that up, um, this is why I want to continue fighting for space for all of us and all our stories, and yeah, I think once the book is out, I would love to see what, other people, how they felt, what are the pieces that people relate to more than the others. But yeah, that's a little sneak peek.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And talking about space, I am wearing your pin that says, I am not sorry for the space I take. And it's like the oolong, like unfurling. Like your poetry and tea is always just like connected, and it's just so sweet. I love it. So thank you.
Thank you. I noticed that you were wearing that pin. It's still one of my favorite things. And Nazanin just did such a wonderful job, just taking my thoughts and designing that pin.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Or like the tea community is always coming together. I think that no matter where we're at in the world, books and words, I can, coming from somebody that can barely speak half the time, books and words have always and are always touching our hearts in some way or form. So I think that even if somebody's not interested in being an author, I can see that, people are still interested in like how this process happens. Like, how do you write? How do you publish? Like, how did this dream come to life? Do you mind sharing any of that?
Absolutely. That's a really good question. And I had to unpack or learn a lot of that as I went through because, here I am a few years ago. I'm gonna write a book and I'm going to publish it, right? That's kind of, I would say, where it starts. And then you start learning all the things that as a reader, I didn't know. I just read books, devoured them, and then moved on to the next one. So I think the biggest thing that I learned once I started putting together the book and I started looking for like, okay, what's next? What do I need to know and have ready? And who's going to help me to the next step? So I think having your thought idea of the book, like what do you what do you what are you trying to do with this book? Like what is the message that you're trying to put out? I think having a lot of clarity on that, because as you then start talking to other people, and I can go into a little bit more about who those other people are. I think everybody's going to have a different idea of like what this can be. So just having a very clear thought of like, this is what I want to put out there. It might shift a little bit as you have other people join the journey of your book. But yeah, I think like knowing that, and then knowing who your audience is going to be for the book, those are two really important things. And then comes the next step where I had to learn that there's something called a query letter that you write for your book that kind of goes into what's the synopsis of your book, what's the structure like, what are the themes that are covered, why is it important to put out in the market right now, and the current day and age. And then what are some of the comparative titles? Like those are the things that kind of go into a query letter, and you can submit them, or like as an author, you would submit them to agents and publishers. Some publishers are open to directly working with the author. A lot of publishers actually want you to be represented by an agent, and then the agent goes and submits on your behalf. So I did both. I submitted to a few agents, and then I submitted to a couple of publishers directly, and Central Avenue, and I had some good conversations, and it seemed like we were aligned with what we both wanted this book to be, and I'm publishing with them now. But yeah, that's a little bit about like what happens behind the scenes.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. It's always that mystery, and I guess most people don't know until they go through it. But
yeah,
always so interesting to hear. What part of the process have you enjoyed the most?
The cover obviously really excited me because it starts to become really real. Like I remember getting there were 4 mock-ups that I received for the book cover, and I remember the moment when I saw the first 4 mock-ups. Like it's very clear in my mind. So that obviously was really exciting, because this is the face of the book that people are going to see before they even go and dive deeper into the book. So that was really fun. And I think my favorite part has really been just kind of seeing the community come together, like everybody coming in support of like the book. How can we help? You've been a big help. So thank you for everything that you do behind the scenes, and even for today. And I think that's really been like my favorite thing, because like I said, I wanted community on the cover, and now seeing that community come together and um, get this book out into the world, I think that's been the most exciting part.
I I love that. And I would also say, like, people always say don't judge a book by its cover, but I I can't see, like, I feel like we all do. And it's that first thing that grabs your attention, right? And it just is that like feeling of like the opening to the book. And I love your cover. So great choice on selecting that one. It's just sums it up beautifully. So yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad that's come through.
For any of our viewers that are like wishing and hoping that they could be published one day, what advice would you have for them?
I think my biggest piece of advice, and I have to remind this to myself as well from time to time, is keep going, keep at it. There are times when it just all feels really daunting and just very heartbreaking, because every rejection from an agent or a publisher, it feels like why am I even doing this? But I think just like what I said earlier, just having a very clear idea of like, why is this work important to you, and why would it be important to the audience? I think remind yourself of that. Like if you want to write it down and put it somewhere where you see it, read it every day, that's my biggest piece of advice through this journey. Yeah.
I think that's amazing advice, not only for potential authors, but for anybody. Like, you sum that up so well. Like, putting down your purpose and the reason behind why you're going for something or trying to accomplish something, and actually putting that down. I'm gonna have to do that. Like, I am taking that advice and, and I am gonna post that somewhere. And yes, so thank you very much. So for my viewers and for full transparency on my channel, I do want to say that I am a digital media freelancer, and we have had the pleasure of working together. I am just, it's been so amazing. So thank you so much. And we've been able to collaborate on a few different things and work together. And can we talk a little bit about one of your stickers?
I have it right here. It fell obviously from
I can put it up on the screen too. Yeah.
you
Do you
go.
want to talk a bit about this and how this happened? And okay, first, can you pronounce how you say this?
Oh, so this teapot, in Hindi, the word is ketli, Ketlee, ketli.
So when Jeanette is my wife for anybody just tuning in for the first time. And when Jeanette first saw the word, she went, "You spelled it wrong, Jan." I went, "No."
Right, because kettle and Ketlee, they're so close. Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah, so yeah.
So this is one of Jan's creations. Okay, so a little bit of the story here. I love telling stories, if you can.
I love it. You're an author, you're supposed to.
So we all know, if you're watching this, you've seen Jan's channel and you've seen Jan's work, and Jan's stickers are not only fun, they have a beautiful message behind every single one of your stickers, and I think I have all of them in my stash.
Thank you.
So when I thought of stickers, and I wanted to do something fun, because you only publish your first book once, Um, and I wanted to create some stickers that go with the book. And obviously, the first person I thought of reaching out to was Jann, and she very kindly said yes to working together. And this sticker was the result of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, like I said, there is a little surprise for tea lovers in the book, and I wanted I asked Jann if we could like do a Kate Lee theme sticker because and the words on it, actually this is my handwriting that Jann put on the sticker, and it says, I know it's hard to read on the screen, but it says, "I'm a survivor, I'll be okay." These are lines from one of the poems in the book, and I thought they went really well with the Kate Lee because Indian culture with colonization and wars, it has changed so much. So many things have been lost over time. But Ketli, like if you walk down the streets in India, Ketli is still one of the things you can find on the streets. Like the chaiwalas are using it. You might not find it in every home, but you will find it on the streets. The chaiwalas, like the people with the chai shack, they're still using it to pour chai into people's cups. So I thought that whole idea of like surviving whatever our journey can be as a country, as a person, I thought that went really well with this. So thank you, Jann, for doing it so beautifully.
Well, thank you for working together on it. It was just I really love the fact that it's your handwriting on it as well, and that we didn't go with like, a font or a type or anything like that, that it's like your handwriting. I feel like I had to copy your handwriting over many times, and I feel like I feel I feel like I might be able to like get away with forging your writing. So I actually design things digitally on my iPad. So I that's how I create my stickers, and yeah. So you
And
sent
she's
me.
really, really, really good at it. I can testify to that.
Okay, you're so kind. Thank you so much.
You
I
really are. You really are. Through the process, I have had the opportunity to work with a lot of different people, and working with you has just been an absolute joy. And the care you put into like everything, it's just it really like that kindness even reflects in your work. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. That is my goal, is to like spread kindness and joy, and I love seeing other people flourish as well. So, and I believe that other people want to help other people succeed. People want to help people succeed. How can we help you succeed?
Doing what we're doing today, this is really helpful. The biggest thing with putting something like a book out there is being able to reach the right audience, being able to reach more people. So anybody who's watching this, if you have the bandwidth, please do share with your friends, family, anybody who you think might be interested in the book we talked about today. All the pre-order links are in my Instagram bio as well as on my website. Um, yeah, I think that's the biggest help. Just help spread the word. Hopefully the work resonates with them.
For sure. And I will definitely link everything in the description as well. Do you have
Yes.
anything else you'd like to say?
No, just thank you for giving me the space to talk about my work and my book, and thank you for being such a big support in my life.
Thank you. This is just, like I said, I'm in love with your poetry. You are doing amazing work. So
So are you, Jann?
thank you. And we will
We'll chat
talk to
soon.
you soon. Bye. So good, right? I hope you loved that. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to leave all of her information down below. And I hope to see you on the next video. If you think I should be checking out somebody, let me know. I can't wait to hear from you. I can't wait to chat with you guys in the comments. If you don't know already, I do have a newsletter. Feel free to subscribe. Of course, subscribe to the channel, all of the things. All right, I'm going to sign off before I just like come through your screen and tickle you, because that's the type of, I don't know what's happening right now. So until next time, take care. Bye.